Good afternoon, everybody. It is 2 p.m. on Monday, April 6th. You're with Captain Awesome. Tea time. I don't have a cup of tea. I am taking advantage of this beautiful weather to be outside today. Interesting thing, many of us labor under the impression that in order to have a really cool hike or a cool place to see, you've got to drive a little bit of a distance. That is not true. Here on Cape Cod, we are blessed with a lot of places where we can go that are actually very close to civilization and probably close to you as well. I am in one of the kind of conservation areas in Barnstable that is literally in the middle of everything. As we walk, you're going to see some backyards. You're going to see some roads. I don't know if you can hear it, but if I was quiet for a second, you could hear the folks driving down Old Stage Road. I entered this park from Ames Way. There's also an entrance by the power substation over on Old Stage Road. It's pretty cool. I was down here when I was a kid. I'm talking a little kid. I'm talking going back 40 years. Lindsay, I am at the old cranberry bogs that are between Old Stage Road, Route 28, and Ames Way. The entrance that I came on is right across from the house that actually has the old private trout hatchery. And as I said, I used to hang out here when I was a kid, when I lived in the neighborhood up there, and it's a pretty amazing place. Today, the birds are in full effect, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're going to head walking back down that direction, and we're just going to see what we can see. Okay, remember, this is real close. This is in Centerville. This is like right across the street from the Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills fire station. Really, really close. You don't have to go far to see amazing things. So the path is pretty well cleared. And if you look over here, this is an old cranberry bog. It's tough to see through all the trees and stuff, but at one point in time it was a working cranberry bog. Now it's falling prey to what they call succession. Trees are starting to grow, bushes are starting to grow. Eventually it will be a forest at some point. Don't know how long exactly that will take. It's been 40 years since I've been down here, and it's taken that long for some of this stuff to grow. So we get further down, we see some other stuff. See this tree? This is an oak tree covered with lichen. We've talked about lichen before. Here's a good example of it, right? So lichen is an interesting plant. Lichen is a combination of fungus and algae, in particular cyanobacteria, living together. They live in pretty harsh conditions. It's pretty ubiquitous all over the world. You find it on rocks, on trees. It's very, very hardy, and it's very slow growing. As a matter of fact, there are some spots where scientists go that they find that the lichen grow at something like 1 millimeter every 5 years. Now, I'm just going to be quiet for a minute so you can hear these birds, okay? Those kind of chucks and calls, those are the calls of a red-winged blackbirds, a number of males that are here getting ready to try to attract females. They're going to try to find a good territory, a good place to eat, and they're going to keep chucking that kind of chuck call and let other males know, hey, this is my spot. Don't come in here. I've been looking for some birds' nests from last year. I haven't seen many. And I'm also looking for pussy willows, which in some areas have started to pop and in others have not. But definitely we have got spring in full effect today. There's another example of a really cool lichen on the tree. See that kind of green, that orange yellowish? That's another type of lichen as well. They've kept this path kind of clear. This is the old Cranberry Bog Creek. that's running along here. We're going to see some animals in there as we get further up, I hope. Again, we never know what we're going to see. A few years back, I found a huge snapping turtle down here, an absolutely huge snapping turtle. Now, if you remember, I said we literally are in people's backyards. So you don't have to go far to find nature and explore nature. It's really quiet down here today, which is good for the isolation we're supposed to do. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we've got quite a few lily pads getting ready to pop. Those are kind of large ones, and those will shelter a lot of insects and a lot of fish and things like that. So this is a real good vibrant little set of ponds, a chain of ponds that moves along down. I think they're fed by water from the Wequaquet Lake area, but I'm not sure. Okay, let me know if you guys spot anything, if you have any questions. This is absolutely a public place. Yes, maintained by the Barnstable, I'm not sure the group, but it is open to the public. And in a couple of weeks, there's going to be, hold on. I don't know. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. I can see it. It's tough with the camera. There is, on that green mound in the center, a painted turtle. There's one climbing out. As I get closer, we'll see if we can see them. That's a real good indication that spring is really popping, because the turtles live down in the mud all winter long, and it's only when it gets warm enough that they come out of the mud. And of course, they've been down there all winter, so they're looking for something to eat. So to get something to eat, the water has to be warm enough to support some insect life, which is what they eat. All right, I wish I had my regular camera, but let me see if I can zoom in on that again. Right there. Can you see him in the middle? Really tough with the camera, not so bad, but he's up there on that log just kind of chilling. So there's a nice painted turtle. I know there's a lot of, this area has a lot of them. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3 I can see. Up, 2 just plopped back down in the water. There's definitely 3 over there. So that's really good that the turtles are out. This is a cool, healthy ecosystem. I don't know if you heard me mention at the beginning that there are, across the street of Ames Way is an old trout hatchery. So sometimes you can find wild trout in here that escaped. Now here is a spot where they've cleared off the cranberry bog. This is typical of what you might see, except there's not so many cranberries here because they're not actively growing them, but they've opened up the space. Let's see. Again, it's only been 1 day of warm. Oh, there's something over here. I can see some ripples in the water. Oh, look, it's a muskrat. Did you see that? There's a muskrat rolling around. Where is he? This must be part of his hole, maybe? Muskrats are an aquatic mammal. He had a branch in his mouth, so he's probably, lining a nest or something. This could potentially be part of where he lives. They are definitely territorial. They're not a fan of people. So a muskrat, that's pretty awesome. So this is kind of the clearest place of the whole spot. This path goes back up into the neighborhood. Hello, Chetty. I am not sure what that means. Oh, a couple of mallards. So this is probably a mated couple. That's the female. The male, of course, is going to follow her. And they're going to be ready to be building a nest very soon. Not quite, but we're definitely getting to that point where they'll be building a nest. So here's a little little thing onto one of the old cranberry bogs. So I'm going to step over onto this, and you can see that while it's going through succession, they've laid out some logs, and there are some areas where the cranberry plant is still here, right? And it will still put berries in the fall, but slowly the bog is being covered with all these small plants, and eventually it'll be covered with bigger trees and willow trees and things like that. And like I said, at some point this will become a forest. Cape Cod originally, when the settlers got here, was a old growth forest area. If we left these places alone long enough, 500 years, eventually it would become old growth forest again. Things like beeches and elms would grow back into the forest. That is kind of the end game of a forest in New England, is to have those big trees without a lot of stuff underneath. So that is what we're always looking for in succession, but this is the beginning stages. Things like blueberry bushes, things like that will grow first. A muskrat is building a nest, I think. I saw a muskrat swimming with a little bit of reed material in its mouth. So this is the time of year when everything here starts to reproduce. The food is going to be plentiful, so they're going to start reproducing up. And I wanted to show you real quick. So this is some kind of late stage pussy willows. They've already gone to the pollination stage, so I missed those. So I'm going to keep looking for some pussy willows that have not fuzzed out like that yet. Usually there's quite a few around. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, puppy. Yes. Hello. And sorry, there was a dog walking by. I have to be a little bit careful. We're not supposed to be interacting with people and or dogs. Apparently the virus can be on a dog's fur for a while, so we have to be careful with that. Now, I was in a spot in Sandwich the other day, and I found a bunch of what turns out were wood frog eggs. Wood frogs are what we call spring peepers. And so they're one of the first amphibians to get out there and lay their eggs. So I have been looking for frog eggs through here and have not found any yet. And we've got kind of a bigger pond, lots of turtles on that tree out there. Hearing lots of birds. Again, it's the first real springy day. It's warm, it's sunny. Even they are like, oh my God, this is fabulous. Not quite Disney movie, because they're not like Disney movie where like we're gonna help the princess. They're like, we want to reproduce, we want to make babies. So that is what they're all calling for right now, establishing territories. And soon, when they have their territory, they'll start calling to try to attract mates. So if you're just joining me, this is near some older cranberry bogs that are right between Old Stage Road and Route 28 off of Ames Way. We're talking about the fact that you can find wildlife really close by. We've got people, we're in backyards here. You don't have to go far. And today I've encountered one person with a dog, so that's pretty good, isolating, right? So you can still get outside and enjoy nature and be safe. And that's the name of the game. We all need a little respite from being in the house. There's only so much Tiger King we can stand. And when you come out and you see the plants starting to bud, and you hear the birds calling, and you see the turtles swimming, it creates, for me, a kind of a sense of peace and a sense that we are kind of all part of this great thing called nature. You can get out. You can avoid other people. You can enjoy yourself, and you should. And this is a really, beautiful little spot right in the middle of Centerville. Most people have no idea that this exists at all. And I guarantee that no matter where you live, something like this exists near you. If you live in the desert, there's a place where you can maybe go explore a wash. If you live in the Northwest, there's a place where you can explore a little bit of some, temperate rainforest. Doesn't take long, half an hour, 40 minutes. And, hey, Miss Lindsay, how are you? And it just, it really does just make me feel better, Oh, here's kind of a cool little animal. Let's take a look at this. It's an insect. Where is he? He's a water strider. Can you guys see him? I'm not sure if you can see him or not. He's an animal that skips along the top of the water and eats other insects very fast. They use the surface tension of the water to kind of skate along and eat other things. Really surprised. I usually find, okay, so there's one. When there's no leaves on the trees, you can see birds' nests from last year. They'll build all new ones, but sometimes you can see the old ones. I got to tell you, it's pretty amazing to me when you look at a bird's nest. Let's say you look at an oriole's nest, which is kind of weaved and hanging from a tree. A bird built that with its beak. No opposing thumbs, no hands, no anything. They took all those things and built it with its beak. I have two hands and multiple tools, and I doubt that I would be able to build a nest that would withstand storms like the Baltimore Orioles do, right? That's a pretty amazing thing to be able to do. And that's a bird with no hands. So I'm always on the lookout for nests. Robins' nests actually line their nests with mud as well. So there's an outer layer of kind of bigger sticks, then there's a little layer of mud, and then there's a layer of soft material inside. That's some pretty amazing engineering for a bird, I think, anyway. So we are out to kind of a bigger pond area. This is a pond that when it freezes over in the winter, people come out here and skate. And I have not seen any frog eggs, which is really surprising. I bet if I were to come down here in like 2 days, I would find a lot of frog eggs. Trying to think if there's anything else. If the weather's too good tomorrow, I think I'm going to head down to a beach area somewhere, not sure where. It's been a really good weekend. Again, I hope all of you are doing okay and all of you are keeping yourselves active and keeping your mind occupied. Remember to follow me over on Instagram. That's at Cape Cod Explorer. And if you're here, you're probably already on my Facebook page. If you have any suggestions or ideas for topics you'd like me to cover or local places you'd like me to go, I'll be glad to do that as long as it's safe to do so. So You guys have a great day. I'm glad that you joined me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Have a good one. Bye-bye.